Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Edie Jones, the University of Tennessee Research Foundation's Marketing Coordinator. I'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining us for today's webinar on Technology Transfer Basics. If you're new to tech transfer or if you're just looking for more information on commercializing UT innovations, we hope you'll walk away with a better understanding of the tech transfer process and the services that UTRF provides to help innovators across UT campuses and institutes. We're excited to have with us today presenters from both of our UTRF offices, Dr. Lakita Cavin and Dr. Kusum Rathore. UTRF Senior Staff Attorney Dr. Lakita Cavin joins us from the University of Tennessee Health Science Center office in Memphis. She is responsible for managing and licensing university technology, as well as preparing and reviewing research-related contracts. She also provides legal support and advice to our UTRF licensing staff. Dr. Kusum Rathore is an assistant technology manager from the multi-campus office in Knoxville. She focuses on the commercialization of technologies in areas of biochemistry and molecular biology, microbiology, and biomedical engineering. Kusum brings over a decade of research experience in the life sciences to UTRF. I'll now turn things over to Lakita to begin our conversation on tech transfer basics.
Thank you, Katie. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all again for joining us today for this overview of tech transfer at the University of Tennessee. So I will start us off by first defining or describing what is technology transfer, or as we refer to it, tech transfer. So tech transfer occurs when we take the knowledge and inventions that are developed out of the research at UT, and we move that knowledge and inventions to an external commercial partner so that that partner can then turn those inventions into products for the public's use and benefit. Now, tech transfer actually supports the university's goal of educating students and advancing knowledge that's developed at the university, because as knowledge is generated, one way of circulating it is through tech transfer. And tech transfer also allows companies the opportunity to develop products and services from those innovations that come out of the university research. Now, our mission at UTRF is directly related to tech transfer and the goals of the university. In our mission, we state what we do, which is we protect, manage, and commercialize the intellectual property that comes out of the university. And we have several mechanisms through which we support the UT research enterprise and as well as the entrepreneurs at the university. And it is also our mission to contribute to the economic development in the region around the university, for example, through our support of the creation of startup companies that are based on the UT inventions. So as you can see, our four-pronged mission is directly tied into what tech transfer is all about. Okay, so you may say, well, all that sounds good, but why does this matter? What is the big deal about tech transfer? Well, tech transfer matters because of what it yields, what it produces. And because of tech transfer, society actually gets to benefit when those innovative university technologies are turned into products for the public's use. And tech transfer also yields financial rewards to the inventors and for the university when those inventions are developed into products. Also, tech transfer creates industry partnerships because when we're marketing the technologies that are disclosed to us, remember, we're looking for partners that can turn those innovations into products. And in doing so, we actually get to develop relationships with these companies. And this can sometimes lead to funding for research at the university. It can also provide researchers with access to certain equipment that the company might be able to provide. And it can also create employment opportunities for students at the universities and others at the university, or those that might be outside the university as well. But definitely it's going to create those employment opportunities or economic opportunities for those in the area, in the region. And when we enter into a license agreement with an industry partner, that can potentially lead to a long-term relationship which can provide long-lasting benefits for the university and its researchers. Now, this slide, what we see here is a demonstration of the importance of tech transfer, and this gives real-world evidence and examples of the effects of tech transfer. Now, you may or may not be aware that many of the products that we enjoy daily or have benefited from actually had their start at a university and became available to the public. How? Well, you guessed it, through tech transfer, of course. And a few of those products are shown here. And we have things that are from therapeutics to consumer products to internet-related products. And I'm sure that most of you are familiar with some of the ones that are listed here, and you've likely used some of them because a lot of the ones that are listed here are quite popular. So again, we see the importance of tech transfer because of the evidence of the products that have come out of university innovations. Now, in the previous slide, we talked about how UTRF supports the UT research as a part of its mission. Well, one way that we do that is through our maturation grant program, in which we have a call for proposals once a year. And this program is actually open to all UT researchers, faculty, staff, and students. And what it does is provide up to $15,000 to help develop and mature technology to hopefully enhance the tech transfer potential of that technology, as well as the commercial potential of that technology. And we are currently in our season for this year of seeking proposals for this program. And the proposals are going to be due in your research office on your campus by October 23rd, which is about a month away from today. And we will announce the awards on December the 4th. And we've also sent out emails and announcements about this, so be on the lookout for that announcement, or feel free to contact us if you have more questions about this program. So on this slide, we see a snapshot in numbers to demonstrate the importance of tech transfer. Now, tech transfer has had a huge impact in the US as well as globally over the past couple of decades. And in this particular figure, which is from fiscal year 2018 data from the US, we see this cycle of innovation, which sort of takes us from the research and invention stage through product development and public use of those products and economic growth. And what we see in numbers is that about $72 billion was spent on research expenditures during this time, and over 26,000 inventions were disclosed to universities during that time. Over 800 products and services were created, and we also see that over 1,000 startups were formed. And remember that these are startups that are based on these university inventions that are disclosed. And also during that time, we see that about 6,500 startups that had been previously started were still operational during that year. So all of this indicates the impact that tech transfer has on economic growth. And overall, from these numbers, we see that tech transfer is a big deal and really makes a huge impact on society. So that's why we're always trying to recruit you, our next innovators, so that you can contribute to this wonderful cycle of innovation. And as part of the tech transfer process at UTRF, we provide several services to the university, and they're listed here, the services that we actually provide to the university. So invention evaluation, so when your invention is disclosed to us, it is our job to evaluate that invention. We also seek protection on that invention or creation through the filing of either patent, copyright, or trademark applications. We market that technology that's disclosed to us, seeking a company that can be that partner that we're looking for to develop products from the technology. We enter into license negotiations when we are engaging or trying to get a license executed for that technology. We also assist with developing sponsored research partnerships. We are involved in negotiating those agreements around sponsoring research from those from the outside partners. When there's a license agreement and there are financial terms in the license agreements, we collect that revenue and collect and distribute the royalty back to you, the inventors and the campus. And we also have ways in which we support our startup companies. And we also provide educational seminars to you that cover various topics related to tech transfer, much like what we're doing today. And speaking of entrepreneurship, in our support of it, we have several resources and programs that we offer or provide access to. And some of those are listed here. So for one, we have an Entrepreneur in Residence program, and our current ERR is Chris West, located in Memphis. And what he does is he mentors faculty, postdocs, and students who have an interest in commercializing their research or maybe some other research that has been developed at the university. We also have the NSF Innovation Corps or I-Corps program. And what this program does is it helps researchers to identify opportunities for translating research into commercial products. And research teams engage in what we call customer discovery over a period of about 2 months. And during this time, the program teaches the teams how to gain an understanding of the market first before actually trying to build a solution or developing a product for the market. And the teams that successfully complete the national program are awarded $50,000 at the end. And UT is a part of the South Node of the I-Corps program. And our next cohort will start up sometime in the spring. So be on the lookout for that if you think that's something that you might be interested in. And then we have our business incubator, which is located on the Knoxville campus. And what it does is it provides entrepreneurs with the space and the right type of environment for starting and building a technology-based business. And then we have our Senior Design Projects program. And in this program, what we do is we pair engineering students with faculty inventors so that the students can help the inventor to solve a problem, whatever the problem is that the faculty inventor is trying to solve. And in return, that faculty member serves as an advisor to the student over 2 semesters and provides feedback and instruction to the student during that time. So this is just some of our programs and resources that we have available for those of you who might be interested in entrepreneurship. But we do have more information about all the programs that we offer or support. That information is available on our website. So we've been talking about tech transfer and how it's related to inventions and translating those inventions into products. Well, how do you know if you actually have an invention? Well, the simple answer is that almost anything can be an invention, especially if there is some human intervention involved, if it's man-made. And here we list several categories and examples of things that can actually be an invention. Areas that some of you likely work in, and all of which we have had disclosed to us at UTRF for evaluation. So we have inventions in the following areas: life sciences, engineering, ag, chemistry, animal health, and even things that are copyrightable. So it's quite likely that you've developed something that can be disclosed to us, something that fits into one or more of the categories that we have listed here. So think about what you are working on or have worked on and see if it makes sense to come to us and disclose an innovation to us that you've been working on. So what does the tech transfer and tech commercialization process actually look like? How do these innovations move from the labs at UT to the marketplace? Well, it starts with you, the researchers, the faculty, staff, and students, and your innovations. So you disclose those to us in an invention disclosure, and then when that happens, the university actually checks that disclosure to see if there are any conflicts with any prior arrangements or prior engagements, and whether or not there are any rights of sponsors that might have funded the research that led to this invention. And then it gets assigned to UTRF, where we will evaluate that disclosure, the invention. And Kusum is actually going to talk to you a little bit more about our evaluation process in a minute. And depending on the outcome of our evaluation, we then decide on how to protect that innovation, whether or not it's something that we need to file patent protection on, or if we want to register a copyright, for example. And so once we get our protection in place for the technology, we then market it to companies who we think might be interested in the technology. And hopefully that leads to us entering into a license agreement with the company, which will have financial terms. And once that happens, once we execute the license agreement, and at some point in time, we should start receiving revenue as a result of that license. And we collect that revenue and distribute it back to you and your department and the university in the form of royalty payments. So that gives you a little snapshot of our tech transfer process and how we go about actually trying to commercialize an invention after it comes to us. So do you think that you have an idea that you want to disclose to UTRF? Well, we have a pretty simple process where you can do that. We have an online disclosure portal that's located at idea.tennessee.edu. Again, it's pretty easy, and it's a pretty fast process to go through the portal. And I'll just go through it with you quickly here. So you go to idea.tennessee.edu. and you're going to come to this login page. And so you will just log in with your UT NetID and password. And once you do that, you will come to this page where you will see on the left side, my invention disclosures. And then on the right-hand side, you will see other information that tells you about other disclosures that you may have submitted in the past. But to start a new disclosure, you go back to the information that's on the left panel here, and you will click on the icon that says Start Invention Disclosure. And then once you click there, you will come to a series of tabs where you are requested to fill in certain information. So please make sure you fill in the required and requested information that's going to be under each tab. So you're going to click through all the tabs. And this particular tab where you submit your e-signature, you want to make sure that you actually click the sign button there that's on that tab, because that ensures that the disclosure gets routed and submitted to us. So all the inventors need to make sure that they click the sign button, because if it doesn't, then the disclosure submission process is not completed and it is not going to get routed. So once all the inventors submit their e-signature, then the disclosure will start the routing process. So it kind of goes up the chain. So the inventor sign, and then it gets routed to your department head, and then to the dean, and so on and so forth up the chain. And once that process is completed, it is now ready for UTRF to evaluate it. And for more information on our evaluation process, I will now turn it over to Kusum, where she will give you a little more information about how we actually evaluate disclosures.
Thanks, Lakita, and thanks, Katie, for the introduction. So I'll go over the rest of the process and try to explain to you what happens once your invention disclosure comes to this awesome place called UTRF. So we do an evaluation process for all of the disclosures, and we follow a few key points. We want to look at the technical merit, the protectability, the commercial potential, and we also want to discuss what are your goals as inventors in taking this technology forward. So we'll go through each of them briefly. Okay, so the first process of evaluations, we want to see, is your invention an early stage of conception or you have a prototype? We want to see what kind of data is needed for this invention to take forward. Are you collecting, for example, cell line models, or are you studying mice models, or are you already looking into the human trials? Another thing that we want to evaluate is the invention in hot area. So for currently, There is a lot of interest in AI, neuromorphic computing, vertical farming. So is your invention in some of these hot areas that companies are really eager to invest and invest and license these kind of technologies? We want to see if you have a prototype already made. And then we also want to see if the invention is a breakthrough or an incremental change. What it means by that is, if it's an incremental change, then it's only changing the existing product or service in the market. So for example, the key activated cards that you see when you go to a hotel room is an incremental change as compared to a breakthrough invention that completely significantly impacts the market and changes the whole, or creates a new customer field, something like Airbnb. So we want to see what kind of invention are we having from you. Next, we want to look at the protectability. How can we protect the IP? I'm sure most of you are aware of patents. So we do file for patent applications. Patents protect subject matter that has a utility, that are novel, and that are non-obvious. What that means is that it's not an obvious solution to put two or more references together. Patent applications should include all the disclosing information, and it should be able to show how the invention works. There are several kinds of patent applications that we can file: a utility, a design, or a plant patent application. The other way to protect IP is through copyright registration. So copyright protects original works of authorship that are fixed in a tangible medium. This could include software, schematic drawings, or firmware, libraries, algorithms. We should have to provide the source of the source code library, and these copyright registered products should be novel. There are some other ways to protect IP which are non-traditional, but know-how can be protected. Know-how is something that could be, for example, a method or a procedure. Even though you do not want to patent it, you can still protect know-how for some, like say, secret recipes, or the recipe of Coke is, for example, a know-how. And the other tangible materials like research tools can also be licensed out, and I'll touch on that a little bit as we go forward. Next, after we have evaluated the IP protection of the technology, we want to look at the commercial potential. So we want to see if it's a clear product that can enter the market without much hindrance to the existing setup of the market. A key question we ask ourselves and our inventors is it solving a problem? It's much easier to take a product to the market that is solving an existing problem or a pain point, rather than first coming up with a product and trying to find a problem that it can potentially solve. We look into and see if the technology is enabling, or is there a substitute technology that a licensee can use. We want to see the market size, and we also want to see what are the other competitive technologies that are out there that can affect our commercial potential. We always look into who could be our potential licensees. In some situations, we have to look what are the legal or the regulatory barriers. Like, for example, if it's a novel therapeutic, we have to look into IND's regulations, FDA regulations. So those depend on some certain cases. And finally, our process is a collaborative process. We want to be very involved with what our inventors want. So we want to know, what are your future goals as an inventor of this technology? Are you thinking of a startup? Do you want to just license out the technology? We want to always be informed about what is the funding status of this research. Like, are we expecting new results that could either potentially improve the technology? And what kind of relationship you have with the commercial these commercial partners when you go to conferences? Do meet these people? So, and then we also want to know how involved you want to be in this commercialization process. So it's we are always seeking to involve you as inventors in this process. So what happens after this evaluation is completed? In most of the times, we reach out either of these three three evaluations. Either we protect the IP through a patent application or a copyright registration. If we do not have enough data, we do monitor the IP for some time, in talking to you constantly and getting your feedback. We probably wait for some additional data to make a go, no go decision. And in certain cases where there is a, say, for example, an existing prior art, we do close the files and we return our rights back to the inventors and the sponsor. So what happens if once we have protected your technology and we're managing it? So then we start looking for a licensee. And when we're looking for a licensee, we're actually looking for a partner that can come in and help you, inventor, and UTRF in making this relationship that can work for all of us. So what a license does is it gives a permission or a right to another party to use and commercialize our technology. UTRF will always retain the ownership. We do set up the financial terms. They are negotiated by the licensing party. And then in any case, we always want the inventors to retain the right to practice the technology in their research labs and also to be able to collaborate with other researchers. And we also like to include diligence milestone in our licenses. So we know that our licensee is actively working on our technology and if we can potentially take it to the market. Also keep in mind, there are some non-traditional ways that we have licensed and we are licensing our technologies. We have our express licensing page on the UTRF website, where we have several technologies from across the campus. We have ergonomic face shield. We have a toxoplasma antigen. So these are click-through licenses, like something like you would go add on your cart and then agree to the terms of license. We also keep in mind if you have research tools, and by research tools, it could be antibodies, chemical probes, cell lines, plasmid animal models. We can always license them through this non-traditional method. Recently, we've also been working with several apps that have been developed. For example, the SFMV app is a communication app that was designed for patients who are unable to talk due to certain conditions, say mechanical ventilation, other injuries, and this enables them to talk to their healthcare provider. So, there are several ways to license a technology, so just keep in mind. I also want to touch out on points that why does an invention stall? Like we're talking and everything going right and we can license the technology, but where are some of the possible fallouts that doesn't take the technology to the market? So one potential early on reason is that there is that your invention is not novel. So there is an existing prior art and it just makes it impossible to file IP. There could also be patent examination issue. A patent application is reviewed by patent examiners. They come back with their questions. If sometimes there are cases when you cannot satisfy their questions, and that lead to not getting the approval of the patent. There could be unfavorable new data that would prove not that the technology is not going in the right direction. The market size being small, when a market is small, they're not open to take new technologies in. We could have lack of company interest even after we could file a patent. There is sometimes a company is not interested for several reasons in the technology. Even after a license with a company, there could be a development failure for the technology, or as far as there could be a market rejection. So there could be fallouts in several steps of this tech transfer process. And we want to be involved with you guys to be able to prevent this from happening as we go along. So like I said, we want to team up with our inventors for success. Inventor participation is very critical for tech transfer process, be it licensing or a business startup. We want your help in making connections with industries. You meet these people, you know who they are, you know where your product fits perfectly. So we need your help there. We need your help in making sure our patent application is fully and accurately describing the invention. And we also want to understand what are the key points of your invention that makes it the standalone in the market, it stand out, advantages that would promote the effectiveness. So inventors are our most important source for getting all this invention. You are the experts in the technology, and we need your help to take your technology into the market. As UT employees under the intellectual property policy, all the employees, all the UT employees, if they make inventions in the course of their duties or using UT resources and or facilities, all these inventions are owned by UT and assigned to UTRF to manage the IP. Here's our revenue sharing policy, a generous revenue sharing policy. The first $5,000 that UTRF collects as revenues go directly to our inventors. After that, we do recover our patent costs. And further on, starting from $5,000 to $1 million in revenue, we share 40% of our revenues with our inventors, 15% with the department, 15% with campus, and 30% is retained by UTRF. After the invention has made more than $1 million in revenue, this changes slightly, as you can see here. So a little bit about what UTRF has been doing, our commercialization results for past 3 years. We have had 554 new invention disclosures submitted by our faculty, staff, and students to UTRF. We have filed for 303 patent applications. 93 of those US patents were issued. We had 96 new licenses and option agreements during this period. We helped start 11 new startup companies, and all this led to about $7.6 million in licensing related revenues for UTRF. Here are some of the startups that have been started with UT's technologies. And UTRF has also been doing its part to help the community during the COVID pandemic. If you followed the news during this time, you've probably heard of Dr. P. Desai. He is the inventor of the filter material that goes in the N95 masks. He actually came out of his retirement to help out during the COVID situation. He has been involved with reusing of masks. How can they be sterilized and reused again? And he's also working on a novel biofilter charging method. Our team at Engineering College has been working with these ergonomic protective face shields. UTRF has collaborated with ORNL in high-scale production of N95 mask materials. Also, the regional biocontainment facility in Memphis is one of the few facilities that can work on COVID that has been approved by the government. So we've been doing several experiments with COVID-related research there. Dr. Mike Witt at Memphis has this hybrid system of combining a harmless virus, VSV, with any potent virus. So he's been doing work with combining this with the SARS-CoV-2 virus, and then we've been working this to help screen several therapeutic platform systems. So with that, when should you contact us? Well, anytime. We are here to help, but definitely contact us before presenting in any public forum, meeting, a poster session, before a publication in any media, and while preparing for a grant application. It is essential to protect your IP before you make a public disclosure, because once you make a public disclosure, you lose your international rights. So we want you to reach out to us soon. Here is our licensing team at our Knoxville and our Memphis office. We are all here to help you. You can find all our emails, phone numbers on our website. And with that, thank you so much for your time. And I apologize again for the technical glitches early on. Here is our Memphis and Knoxville numbers and our UTRF email. So please reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you both. We'll now open it up for a few questions. We've gotten a couple as we were going through that I'll read off, and please feel free to drop any other questions you might have thought of, and we'll try to answer them as best that we can. One of our first questions was about slides from the presentation. We're happy to make those available and can send those out to you all, as well as we're recording the webinar to use for a future reference also. Another question we have is, we had the slide on our entrepreneur in residence Chris West. And so the question was, is Chris West or someone at UTRF available to give grad student seminar talks? So maybe you guys can share what that process looks like, and if they wanted to have someone from UTRF come and talk, how to set that up.
Yes, so we definitely are available to come and give talks to anyone at any time. Just contact one of us and we can set up a time to come and talk to you.
Great.
And also make anyone available that you might want to have as part of a presentation or ask questions of.
Okay, our next question is, do we have to wait until a product is built, i.e. a software app, or could you evaluate a prototype requirements documentation?
I'll start and Lakita can pitch in. Yeah, yes, please feel free to reach out to us early on. You do not need to have a completely built software or a prototype. We can evaluate and help you in the process. Sometime coming to UTRF early is more useful because, you know, then we can clean out the process, we can get the kinks out of that. There could be some things that we need or do not need in the prototype or in our final software. So yeah, you do not need to have a perfectly ready system to come to us.
Okay, that's all the questions we had in the queue. Are there any more questions you all thought of? Okay. Should we retract a paper that is under review for publication in case we want to extend it into a patent?
So I can answer that. We don't like necessarily having you not submit papers for publication, but we would definitely want to know if you have one in the queue or if you're thinking about submitting one for publication review so that we can try to manage that along with any IP filings that we might be considering. Sometimes the journal that you're submitting to, they will delay publication if you request it, but that's why we ask that you disclose to us as soon as you think that you may have developed something, and definitely let us know if there's a pending publication so that we can try to manage that, because sometimes we are able to do that by requesting a delay in the publication.
Okay, great. When is the next seminar? Today was very helpful.
So when things are normal on the Health Science Center campus, we typically try to do these every other month, and we do usually start in September, and which means that we would probably be having another one in November, and we can likely still do that. And so we'll consider doing another one of these on that normal timeline of every other month, since it seems like this was useful and interesting. So definitely we don't mind doing that, and just always reach out to us. If there is a particular topic that you would like for us to present on, just let us know and we will be happy to do that presentation for you.
Does every UT campus have their own maturation grant program?
Well, I can start. UTRF has one maturation grant program that is open to all the campuses. So feel free to look it up at our website. And yeah, I don't think it's a campus-wide program. This is a program by UTRF, and it's open to all UT employees.
Do grad students' seminar PowerPoints count as public disclosure?
They definitely can count as a public disclosure, because typically anyone might be able to attend it. So if you think of it as an open seminar where people from other labs or other areas in the university, even your family, might attend, that's considered a public disclosure, just like any other presentation. And one way to sometimes get around that, like a lot of times when people, for example, go to a conference and present, if the attendees have signed some sort of a confidentiality agreement, then that can provide protection from it being considered a public disclosure. But in general, if there's any type of presentation where the public or other people outside of maybe you and your advisor are attending, then I would consider that, or that is considered a public disclosure. And at any time that you're thinking about presenting something and you have a question about whether or not it's a public disclosure, just contact us if you think it's something that you might think that's important or you would want to file IP protection on.
Great. If a private industry wants to license a technology, who's their first point of contact?
You want me to take that, Kusum? So when a private industry is interested in a technology, a lot of times what I found that a lot of companies scan the websites of different universities if they're looking for university technology. And like on our website where we have our technologies listed, it has contact information for each particular technology. And so they would reach out to the contact that's associated with that technology. And we have licensing managers, so we're all licensing or tech managers. And so each person has their own portfolio of technologies that they manage. And so that's the person that's going to be the contact for a particular technology that a company might be interested in.
Our next question, can you elaborate on the innovation incubator?
I can talk a little bit about it. So the business incubator is located on our Knoxville campus. It's actually on the AC campus. We do provide space to local startups, mostly the ones that are affiliated with UT. Sometimes there are exceptions. So it really provides you a business space. You can have your office locations there. You can get your mail there. And it also provides this environment of collaboration with other similar minded people who are also the residents of incubators. So I think we have a good number of people there. I don't remember the exact number of companies that are there, but if you have any more questions or if you would like to know if there is an occupancy, please reach out to us and we can help you.
That looks like all of the questions that we have for now. So thank you, Lakita and Kusum, for giving us a great overview of technology transfer. And then again, thank you to all of our participants who joined us today. As we previously mentioned, we plan to make the webinar recording available for you to have for future reference. And if you have further questions about tech transfer or anything we covered today or anything you'd like to see covered in the future, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our email is utrf@tennessee.edu, or you can find us online at www.utrf.tennessee.edu. So thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.